let's talk about the e-collar. So what we're going to go over is how to use it, how to turn it on, how to find your dog's working level, all basic things that you need to know. So once you purchase this, or if you get it from us, if you're a part of our premium doggy daycare, this is actually a part of that membership. So once you get it, you're going to get your box. This is the Mini Educator from ecollar.com. This is the only brand that I recommend using. Not all e-collars are made equal, and I really want you guys to know this because a lot of people buy something from Amazon that's like 30-40 bucks. I promise you guys, those are shock collars. The way that they work with your dogs is it's like instant. It's I would call it loud. Like there's no way to teach your dog what that means because it's so inconsistent with like whatever pressure it gives. So I highly recommend you actually investing in this because this is not a shock collar. This is a stimulation. So if you've ever seen those like muscle stimulators that they put on humans where they're like they put it on and they're like muscle moves, that is exactly what this does. We're using this on the muscle of your dog's neck. Okay, it's very gentle. This is not like I'm just going to turn it up all the way and shock my dog. Like there is a whole process on how to condition your dog to this feeling so they understand it. It's not about just turning it on high and pushing the button. No, and anybody that tells you that, please run from them. So first off, let's just go over the actual remote itself. When you get this, I'm going to turn it off real quick so I can show you. So when you get it, it comes out the box, it's going to be off. What you're going to do is locate the button on the back that has an L. You will press and hold, and you will see this light up on the front. That's how you know the remote is on. Same thing to turn it off. You're going to go to that same button on the back, press and hold to turn your remote off. Once you turn your remote on, locate the actual e-collar itself that goes on your dog. There is going to be a red dot on it. Locate the red dot on your actual e-collar, and these are just magnets. So what you're going to do is push them together. Sorry, it was actually on already. So what you're gonna do is push them together and you'll see a green button. That's how you know it's on. To turn it off, you do the same thing like I just did, and you'll see a red button. That means your collar is off. So once they're both on, you're good to go. You can put it on your dog. But before we do that, let's go over all the buttons. So we already talked about this one with an L. That's how you turn it on and off. You hold it for about 3 seconds. The next one is it's an M and C. Basically, that's just going to be the setting of your remote. When it comes to you, it's going to actually come with like there's a little M over here and a C. I change all of our e-collars to just the C function, which means it's just continuous. It's just a feature that I feel like fits better and helps make it easier for you and your dog. So when you have your remote, which I'll help you set this up, there will be a C, and then you'll also see up top there's going to be a 1D. That means that this e-collar is made for one dog. Okay, there are some e-collars that you can have like 2 dogs on one remote, but everyone that we work with just has this normal one e-collar for one dog. Next you'll have this it's kind of like a dial on top. This e-collar goes from level 0 all the way up to level 100. That is a huge range, okay? I just want you to know that. Most of our dogs stay between 0 and 20. Like that majority of the time. Unless they're super overstimulated and we're having to work with arousal or something. Most of the time, your dog's working level, which we'll go over, is the level that we condition them with, and that pretty much the remote stays at unless, again, they spike up, they react to something, but I'll show you how to find your working level here soon. But I just want you guys to see that. So this is the dial button, and then you have 2 S's on one side. There's a black S button and a red S button. Your black S button is the one that you're going to use majority of the time. You can just click it when it's on your working level. So if you want to tell your dog no, whether they're barking at something, it's a no. Click the button. You can also, because it's on continuous, which means you can press the button and it provides continuous pressure. So if you need to call your dog over and for whatever reason you need continuous pressure, what you do is same thing, press, but this time you're going to hold it, and basically the e-collar is going to make that stimulation. You'll see it light up. And again, just press and hold. That might mean I'm trying to get my dog on a place bed or whatever, but you'll have consistent pressure. The reason I show you this is because also it only has continuous pressure for about 10 seconds. So as you see, I'm still holding the button, but that red light went off, which means it's kind of like a safety feature. And just in case like you have it in your pocket or something and you somehow press the button, it doesn't keep going, and your dog keeps feeling that stimulation. They're like, what's going on? And you're like, oh my gosh, it was in my pocket. It shuts off automatically at 10 seconds. So if it was to do that and you're still working with your dog, just press and hold again, and just start that 10 seconds over. The next is the red button. So this is kind of like your boost button. Typically, so my dog's working level is a 5, which is what I have this one on. So if I was to press, she tries to blow it off, she is barking crazy at something, and I really need to get her out of that mind state. I need to get her attention, make sure I disagree with that behavior. You can use the red button. That's going to be your boost. So it goes from 5 to 10. It typically goes up by 5. So if your working level is a 5 and you need a little boost because your dog is like really not listening and you need to correct that, press your red button. That's your boost button. And then on the other side, you'll see this one that has a letter T. This is your tone button. When you get your remote, it typically comes on a vibrate, which basically just vibrates the collar. I switched this over to what's called the tone feature. It basically makes a beeping sound. The reason that I like this one is because I work on conditioning all of our swaggers to use this as a check-in. So if they're out super far in the yard, for some reason, it just helps them kind of learn, oh, I hear the noise, that means I need to come to her. It's kind of just like a little check-in feature, like, hey, my dog's too far. Maybe I'm trying to recall them, but they can't hear me for whatever reason. They might be too far. You can easily just, and we teach them what that means. It means just come back to me. They don't have to come back and sit down. They just have to move in my direction. And this is such a huge feature. I love it so much because it gives your dog freedom without you freaking out, without being able to they might be able to not hear you. It's just kind of like another safety feature to get them to come back and move in your direction. That is it for the actual remote. And then for, I guess, the end of it, I'm going to show you how to charge it. So as I mentioned, there is an actual charger in the box, and I want to show you real quick. It's got 2 cords on it. Plug this into the wall, and then there are actually 2 little cords that's going to go into your remote and your collar. So on the back of your remote, you'll have this little flap. You just lift it up, plug in the actual charger. And it doesn't matter which one of the cords you use, they both work for both of these. And then on the back of your e-collar, there is also another little flap. You just open up and put your charger in. And again, I highly recommend putting this in a spot like on your counter where you can see it, remind yourself to charge it every single night. You guys, please don't go to bed without charging your e-collar. It is so frustrating to wake up and need to work with your dog or need to take him somewhere and you have a dead e-collar. So just get in the habit of creating this and charging it just like we charge our phones. This is kind of like your dog's phone. Charge it because they'll need it. It's just just make it easy. Create a habit. It'll make it a lot easier. I want you guys to see that when you do plug it up, you'll see both of these will light up red. That means that your actual e-collar is charging. Once it is fully charged in the morning when you wake up, these lights will be green. That's how you know your e-collar is fully charged and ready to go. When you're ready, just unplug both of them from the cord. And again, make sure that once they're unplugged that you actually do close and push these little flaps back in. Your e-collar is waterproof, but you just want to make sure they're closed so that way nothing gets inside of it. Next, I want to help you learn how to find your dog's working level. And to do that, I want you to actually find the working level on your own hand. So what I'm going to have you do is place it in your hand. The reason I have all of our swagger owners do this is because I find that owners feel a lot more comfortable using an e-collar once they can actually feel it for themselves and get an idea of what their dog is feeling as well. It kind of takes out some of that unsureness or anxiety you might have of a new tool. So what you're going to do is you're going to place it in your palm and hold it firmly in your palm. Make sure that it doesn't move around. You want it to be secure. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start at a 0 and just work our way up. So I'm going to go to a 1. Again, I'm using my dial just to go up by 1. Here is a 1. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my black S button. And I'm going to tap and then tap and hold. If you don't feel anything, then you just go up to another level. I'll go up to a 2, tap, tap and hold. No, don't feel anything. So I'm just gonna basically just keep doing that, increasing the numbers up until I feel something. Here we go. I am at a 12 and press and hold. I feel a little bit, not painful. Again, it's just kind of like it gets my attention, like, oh, hey, you over there. That's basically what it feels like. So once you find that level, that would be considered your working level. From there, then I'm at a level 12. That's going to be my working level. Then what I want you to do is I just want you to go up by 5. So I'm going to go from a 12 to a 17. And again, do the same thing. Use my black S button, press. Okay, press and hold. It's kind of just like my motivation level. It's kind of like just kind of to get you going. Maybe your dog didn't hear you, or maybe they're just kind of being just a little stubborn. It's just kind of like, hey, let's go, you know, whatever it may be, whether you're trying to ask them for something or move away from something or come back to you. I typically just go up by 5 to kind of get a little bit more of their attention. Then what I want you to do is I want you to find your correction level. Typically that is about, sometimes I go 10 up. So my working level is at 12. I'm gonna go up to a 22. That's about 10 above that level. What I'm gonna do is the same thing, use my black button, press. Okay, press and hold. Okay, again, it doesn't hurt, but it's enough. Say if I say, you know, I'm gonna go on a diet and I tell my friends, hey, I'm not eating cookies, I'm not eating sweets, so please keep me accountable. It's just enough to kind of make sure to hold me accountable and to change my behavior. So if we're somewhere, I see a plate of cookies and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go and get it. It looks so good. And my friend's like, hey, no. I'm like, all right, you're right. Thank you for holding me accountable. Maybe your dog's just being a little stubborn. They're obsessed with something, barking, whatever. You can dial up maybe, so I'm at a 22 now from my original working level of 12. And you can keep dialing up until you get your point across to your dog of like, hey, we do not do that. I said no. So if you're at a 22, you might need to go to a 30, maybe a 32, and just work your way up until your dog understands what it is you're saying. And again, it's not to hurt your dog. Again, I'm at a 22. It doesn't hurt. I just feel it in the sense of like, oh, okay, I really understand you're trying to get my attention or you're trying to disagree with something. So that is all it is. But the reason I wanted you to find your working level, so that's the level you first feel it at. Your motivation level was about 4 to 5 up from your working level. And then I wanted you to feel your correction level, which is about 10 up from that. Just so you can kind of feel the different levels that you might be using with your dog. And again, your numbers can fluctuate depending on your dog's state of mind. But I at least wanted you to have a foundation for you to feel it yourself. So that way you kind of have an understanding of what is happening when it's on your dog. I always like to put these, I believe these are called carabiners. I could be wrong. But clips, I'll call it a clip because I'm not sure if that's what they're called. But typically I do always just put this on your e-collar. If I have them in stock, you can literally buy these on Amazon. But it just makes it so much easier. I can clip it onto my jean belt loops, my shorts, my fanny pack, my purse, whatever it is I'm carrying. It's just easier to clip it on, plus it's easier to hold when you're with your dog. Just that way it's just easier to have with you. You don't have to worry about just holding onto the remote. So I love to add that in there. Take your time with learning it. If you're gonna feel awkward, you're gonna feel awkward holding it. You're gonna be like, okay, how do I hold this in my hand? How do I press the button and dial up while I'm trying to tell my dog something? It comes with practice. Anything that someone does the first time, it's okay. It's okay to feel awkward. It's okay to just feel uncomfortable. That's very normal. So I want you to hear that from me. Over time, as you start to use it more, you'll start to be better at when to dial up, how to dial up while you're talking to your dog and working with your dog. It will become kind of second nature. Just give yourself time to adjust. And then the last thing is where to place the placement of the actual e-collar on your dog. So in one of the previous videos, I think I said, typically it's going to be like your flat buckle collar that typically has your dog tags. That's gonna hang down low. Then you will place on your e-collar right above that, and your prong collar or slip lead will go right above that. So it does matter where you place it. The reason for it is because the buckle collar, typically all dogs have just for their dog tags. So that just hangs down, does nothing. It's just kind of like for decoration, for ID. The reason that we put the prong collar or slip lead up here high is because that is the best place to help steer our dogs. You want to put it high right behind their ear, and then the e-collar is going to go right in the middle, which I'll have a picture that I can show you. The reason for it is because if you put the buckle collar and then, like, say, the prong collar, then the e-collar, the prong collar is not going to work properly because it's going to get stuck on the e-collar. So again, you want the flat buckle collar. The e-collar is going to be second on your dog's neck, and then your prong collar or slip lead is going to go right here high on their neck. That is the setup of your dog if you're using these tools. And again, I'll show you a picture so you can kind of see better, a better visual. So hopefully that is helpful. But if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to clear things up, help you get better, more comfortable with using it, and just all the things. So again, hopefully that is helpful, and I'm excited for you to start your journey.